Everybody, how are you? This is that child support lady. I've been thinking about you and working on things to help you, writing notes, taking things down, trying to learn how to do professional videos so it could be better, so the quality sound can be better, so the background can be better. I just been thinking about all those things so I could help you better. But in the midst of thinking about how it's going to help you better, researching and looking to things, what I could afford to purchase and make better videos, I was hit with the news that I have breast cancer. Yeah, that's the same interjection that I use, and most people use when they find out, or when I tell them is, oh my, oh gosh, oh, I'll be praying. So I've heard all of that. The frustrating part was when I first heard about it. And then I thought about how when I was working, and I'm retired now, when I was working in child support for those 25 years, it was a lot to do. It was, my caseload was 1,000 plus, and I always carried a very heavy caseload most of the 25 years that I worked there. Always worked in the largest counties that they house most of the 25 years that I worked there, and didn't take time to go get breast exams the way I should have, or didn't make time because sometimes when you said that you had a doctor's appointment or whatever, it was a whole lot of stuff behind it. Because sometimes I just didn't feel like hearing that. I just went on. But now I wish I had have gone ahead and got regular breast exams like I should have, like my doctor was telling me to do. But I did go after retirement, take the mammogram. I took the mammogram. When it came back, they sent a letter to me and my doctor that said that they saw dense tissue in my left breast, and that was not abnormal. But I need to go to my doctor and we talk about what was going to be done further, was going to be followed up or what. So my doctor sent me to get another mammogram and an ultrasound. I want to say sonogram, but that's if I was pregnant. I only wish. So after I got the mammogram done, and I think it's the ultrasound. Is it an ultrasound? Man, my head be so clouded sometimes with these things. I do not remember. I think it was ultrasound. So the ultrasound showed that I did have that there were masks found. I'm sorry, that there were masks found in my left breast, and it was like three, but they were very small. So after that was done, I had to go back and do a biopsy. I don't like them, but it was necessary. And the biopsy came back and it showed that there was cancer um, in, I think one of the lumps in my breast showed that it was cancerous. So of course you go and you do follow up and you go back and you talk to your doctor, and he's reading me the report, and the whole time it's like you're trying to hold in your frustration, and the frustration is because you don't quite understand it all. You hear about cancer. I watched my mother die from cancer. I was in the last week that she died from breast cancer. So those things are in your mind, and you don't really want to believe that this is happening to you, but it is happening to you. And me being a person of faith, um, or being a Christian, you're taught to speak things into existence, and this is not happening, and that's not happening, and I can't speak anything into existence. So if it's happening, I accept that it's happening, and by faith, I know that my God will deliver. So this is my faith. This is how I believe, and that's okay. Whatever your faith is and how you believe, that's okay. But this is my faith, and this is how I believe. And I believe that God will deliver, that He has given me, to us, in our bodies what is needed to heal ourselves. And the way that we stir those things up is by exercising, eating right, drinking plenty of water, um, or having a good lifestyle, and taking care of yourself daily, loving on yourself daily, getting up, loving on yourself, not just Wednesday, not just a Thursday, not taking one day out of the week to love on yourself, but loving on yourself daily, taking care of yourself, taking getting your regular checkups, whether it's mammograms, dental, or whatever. Take care of yourself, love on yourself. That's how you love yourself. When you love yourself, I always say if you're good with yourself, you can be great with anyone else. So that's what I believe. But I wasn't doing it. So I went to my primary, and he told me what the diagnosis, from the biopsy, how what it read, and then it was cancerous. And then of course he examined me, and he said I don't feel anything. So when he said that, that gave me a ray of hope, and he gave me some explanation of what was going on. So as things were explained to me, it took away some of my frustration, because I had this thing all planned out. When I retired, I was going to do this, I was going to do that, and I'm still going to do it. So I don't see it as a setback. I just see it as an intermission, um, that I'm having to, do this thing. So as I went to, so my doctor, he after he examined me, he told me that he's going to send me to an oncologist. That's something, a word, oncology and oncologist, was something that I could not really stand to hear, because when I heard the word oncologist, to me, it meant cancer, someone who dealt with cancer. That's what it is. But I did not want to ever read that word or hear that word. And going back to what I saw my mother endure in 1999, when she was wrestling with cancer to her death, um, until she died. So I went to the oncologist, and he got me going to, I'm getting several different tests. And I know it's going to come, I'm talking in pieces, but I'm trying to give it to you as it went along. So we had to do three different tests: MRI, CT scan, and some type of bone scan. I'm not familiar with any of this stuff. I'm not familiar with medical terms. That is just not me. But that was the process of going to the hospital and getting those things done. So then you got your little time in there where you are waiting for the results to come back, because of you praying that what the biopsy showed that is gone. They're not going to see it anymore. They're going to be surprised that God is going to just zap this thing out of me, and they're going to be just so surprised when they see it, and they're going to see the glory of God. That's the way I think, and that's okay. So after waiting and the results came back, I had to go back to the oncologist and talk with him about what all the tests showed. So he walks in the room and he said, everything looks good. So I'm like, oh, interjection. Oh, ooh, so I'm doing to myself what some people do when they hear that I have breast cancer. And it's okay. It really is okay. So then he says, well, there is cancer in your lymph node under your under your left armpit. So I'm like, well, I'm doing that because the whole time I am making plans to um, get this, for this little hustle or this little side job that I was planning on getting. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, would this interfere with me getting my side job? I still wasn't thinking about myself, but I kind of was, because I'm not a person. I'm not a quitter. If you quit on me, that's one thing, but I'm not going to quit on you. I'm going to keep going. So when he told me this, um, I didn't get discouraged, but I got really concerned about Was I going to be able to work this side, work this side job? So so I didn't tell you, but I want you to keep in mind that as I am hearing all these things from the doctor report and all this, I'm still working on things. I was working on doing these videos for y'all to help you with your frustration when it comes to understanding child support, the best way you can, and how all these things work and where it comes from and what do they do on a daily basis to process your cases. So these are the things that I was working on, doing all this time, still working on it, still looking at a side hustle, something I can do, still running the house, still taking care of things here, beginning to take care of my body in a different way, and to see what supplements is best for my body now, and what I drink in the morning when I get up, and all those things are what am dealing with while waiting for to hear the doctor's reports. So then he tells me that I have to go to, they're going to do surgery. So I'm like, okay. Then I get sent to a surgeon to talk with the surgeon and to hear what she's saying. So she's telling me about they don't have to remove all the lymph nodes from under my left arm. They're going to remove one because one was positive when it came to the cancer, and one of the mass on my breast is what the cancer spread from that to my lymph node under my left arm, but it is not a cancer that continues to spread. So this is what I was told. Um, so now I'm in the process of waiting to have the surgery next week. But when she was talking to me, I'm kind of a nerd. I like to kind of read books on the brain and the body, whether I understand it or not. I like to read books on it, and some of the things I do understand, and some of the things is kept in my memory bank, and some of the things are just not, But I'm kind of a nerd, so she said that she was explaining things to me. So she said, I know it's a lot to understand. Even though she was using medical terms, I was able to follow her with what she was telling me. So if she's going to go in and remove the lymph node and the two the two lumps that's in my breast, she's going to remove those. And if there are any, and do some, and take some samples from my other lymph nodes to see if they are cancerous, if cancer is in them. If they are, I go back to do another surgery and they get removed. So they're trying to avoid removing all my lymph nodes under my arms, in my armpit, so that I won't have to deal with like swelling in my arm, and that kind of thing. I can't explain everything to you that they said, but I just want to explain what I can. Um, so after the surgery, I have been told that I would have to have radiation, and radiation would take care of any cancer cells that may be there. From my understanding, I'm a Google person. I should not Google anything when it comes to my health, but I do sometimes. So I'm trusting what the doctor says. I'm hearing what the doctor says, but the whole time I'm trusting my faith in God that all is well. So when I was thinking about that this morning, what I was having to endure, and how me going to the doctor enlightened things for me, I couldn't understand all their terminology, and they would break it down because I asked questions. I wanted to know, so I asked questions, so I wouldn't walk out of there void of complete understanding, and I would have some understanding of what I'm having to go through, and how all this is going to affect me now and in the long run. So I had to ask questions. A lot of times, the frustration comes because we don't ask questions and we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, is because we don't ask questions. And sometimes you don't know what questions to ask. But if you ask that one question, sometimes you'll get a detailed explanation, and that helps. So when I knew what maybe one question to ask or half of a question to ask, I did. I asked a question. So now I'm in a place of not complete understanding, but understanding more than I did when I found out that I had breast cancer and what I had to go through to eliminate the breast cancer from my breast and from my body. So I'm understanding more now. So I was thinking about you and not being able to understand the child support laws and the processes and the procedures that's taken with your cases, and those things you need to know. So I want you to know that I do understand that life brings on frustrations, but the more understanding that we receive, um, there is you're more enlightened when you get understanding. So that's what I want to help you do. I want to help you to understand the child support processes to eliminate some of that frustration that you're having when it comes to receiving and it comes to paying child support. And what is the system itself? What is it doing? And my 25 years of working there, it made me an expert in child support. So, what I believe that God has given me to do for you is to become a child support consultant. So, as I study and learn more about this, and I am still in contact with the office, and I am still, when there's something new comes down, I found out what that new thing is, and I'm going to tell it to you. If there are any changes, and I know there have been some changes since I've been gone in July, about calculating child support, about an increase um, in the guidelines. So all that stuff is important to you. If you have a case coming up, you're going to be dealing with that new guideline. If you have a case that's going to be modified, increase or decrease, you're going to have to deal with that new guideline. So all these things are taking place, and there are some more things that's taking place to benefit the non-custodial parent and the custodial parent when it comes to child support. So because of the intermission, so I have doing this intermission in my life now with waiting for the next move when it comes to breast cancer, I'm going to be reading and studying, doing research so that I can help you. That's why I have become a consultant for child support, and it is to help you. Okay? So if you desire, feel free to leave me comments. Whether it is negative, don't get too raunchy with it now. Whether it's negative or positive, leave a comment and I will do my best to help you to answer your questions. Now, I do not offer legal advice or legal counsel, but I am an expert child support consultant with 25 years of experience and still seeking out the system, still seeking out where there are changes that's being made. So I just want to help you as I help myself through this thing with having breast cancer and going through its little frustrations and listening and laughing at people's interjections when I tell them that, oh my, ooh, ah, oh God, I even have heard that, well, it ain't that bad. I've even heard that. And I am so thankful that I can laugh because I know that there are people who is having to endure this dis-ease when it comes to cancer. And you know what? I was one of those people too when I heard of cancer that I didn't want to say the word cancer or hear the word cancer because it frustrated me and it bothered me and it scared me because what I saw my mother go through. I'm not afraid now. I'm not afraid. And I can promise you that I'm going to wear a t-shirt and I'm going to become a strong advocate when it comes to helping with cancer and helping people to have the best I can to have different mindset to live on, to live on, to live on. And that's not always to receive someone when you've been told that you have something that may kill you. But the medical procedures have changed tremendously over the years since my mother died with cancer, and that was 1999. There has been more research done, and I had a test done to see if me having cancer was genetics, and it was not genetics. So I'm like, okay, if it's not genetics, where did it come from? And I asked the surgeon, I asked the oncologist, I didn't ask my primary doctor, um, and I didn't think to ask him. That's why he didn't give me an answer. I didn't think to ask him that day, but I'm going to do more research on it. And they told me it was not genetics, and when um, they their answer to me was they don't know. They don't know where it comes from. So of course, I did some Googling and I saw where scientists have proven that it is not genetics, that it's environmental, is what we breathe in, the toxins we breathe in, and the foods we take in, and the makeups we use on our face that have toxins, and all these different things. And I've heard so many different things about how we get cancer outside of it being genetics. They don't, nobody really knows but God. So, um, of course, I'm going to do some research on it. I won't be reporting on it, but I will keep you abreast along and along what it is that I am experiencing. Maybe some of you that come on here is experiencing the same thing I'm experiencing. So let's do this together. There are a lot of agencies out there when it comes to help with having cancer. I found out there are a lot of agencies out there that can give you explanations, but I would rather get mine from my health provider because, like I said, there are so many things on Google that might be half truth or no truth at all, or it may be total truth. But I'd rather get mine from my health provider and talk with them about it when I go see them. And I've talked with several women who, and my sister being one of them, who experienced, and I hope she don't mind me telling you, who experienced kind of the same thing that I have to go through now, but hers was not to the extent where mine is. She didn't have to have a lymph node removed from her armpit, but she did have to have a lump removed from her breast. So I've spoken with other um, people who's gone through this more than one time. I've spoken to women who has had lumps removed from their breast and it was not cancerous. I've spoken to women who's had to have biopsies done on their breast. So it is something that's just, when you think about it, it's wild. And it reminds me of when COVID hit, you know, and we had to just get out of the office, get out, get out, get out. It was like that. Everybody leave now. Everybody leave now. So take your laptop. So you're grabbing your computer and all that kind of stuff, and you get home. And I walked outside. I'm like, well, God, where this thing comes from? Is it something that's falling out of the air? And it seemed like it was just this monster to me that was out of control. And guess what? I ended up getting COVID, and I had it rough. I didn't end up in the hospital. I ended up in the hospital only to get diagnosed that I had COVID. I thought it was a bad sinus infection, and I was married at the time, and my spouse at that time, he had COVID as well. So we was laying up in this big house and he's in one end of the house and I'm in the other end of the house, and he's so sick and I'm sick, but I'm walking down the hall to check on him to make sure he was all right and encouraging him to get up, and the whole time I'm sick. So now I've been told I have breast cancer. So, well, it's just something that and I'm not taking it lightly, but for me, this is me in my life, how I have to handle this thing, and this is how I handle situations. When it comes to the negative and the positive meter, my faith keeps my meter like this. So I have to bring it like this. And I can't stay over here with the negative because I can't survive if I do. So I focus on my positive meter and my faith. And like I said, sometimes it's like this. And the more I focus on the Lord Jesus Christ, the greater it gets. So I'm gonna take that faith that goes like this sometimes and move like this sometimes, and I'm gonna take my faith and I'm going to put more emphasis on praying for others who their cancer, it may be um, just they can't function, and they can't live a normal life because of having cancer. And I can still live a normal life, but can't be the life as usual when it comes to taking care of myself. So self is going to be the number one thing for me now, the rest of my life. I don't have little children. I have grandchildren, and I have sons and daughter-in-laws, but I can't live for them. I have to do it for me because they have their own lives. And I'm so glad that it was not genetics. So I couldn't pass anything on to them, but telling them to keep your immune system up. So it is not frustrating any longer, but I'm not gonna sit here and say that how wonderful I feel about, having breast cancer. Um, but it is a constant um mile fight daily on a daily basis. When I get up, I'm thanking God. Every day I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm thanking God that I'm alive to continue and to do what I believe that He has for me to do on earth. And that is to encourage you and to help you to do, or help you to not be so frustrated in your journey with child support, in your journey with anything that you're having to do. I don't know what it is, but I want to keep you encouraged. Okay. Like I said, this is not the greatest, I guess the quality, sound quality, and all the kind of stuff. I'm watching these videos on YouTube, and I know this is